Hi again. Here we are to continue our discussion of HTML and the HTML language and making web pages, right, and websites and web applications. In the last video, I talked about the basic syntax of HTML and how the tags are structured. Let's talk about some of the tags and why you would pick one tag over another. Okay, so this is probably the most important thing to know about HTML. Okay, there's a lot of tags out there and there's no reason to memorize them all. Over time you'll learn tags that you use commonly, but there's no reason to memorize them. What you need to know is just the system behind the tags, and then you can always search up a tag when you need it and figure out which tag to use. Okay, so what is the system? Well, let's talk about the history first, right? So HTML was used to mark up scientific documents so you could share them with other people. So if you wanted to create a document and you just wrote it down on paper, you might put the title at the top of the document and anybody reading it on paper would know what the title was. If we wrote it in a text document here, people might not be sure what the title of the document is. So what we do is we wrap it in the title tag, and now everybody knows what the title is. And if you have an automated service that went through this, we could have a machine search the page for the opening title tag and the closing title tag, and then that machine would understand that all the text between the two tags is the title. Okay, and that's the whole purpose. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, that means when you write a document, you can just pick the tags that describe things best. So, for example, if I said, if I wanted to make a document down here and I wanted to say, lesson 1, and then say HTML, and then I wanted to say, oops, it kind of code hinted me the HTML there. I'm going to get rid of that. And then down here, maybe I wanted to, maybe this is the title, and then below here I want to write, a paragraph about HTML. I would say something like, the HTML language is really important. It's used to make web pages. Okay, there we go. So if this is the title, right, and then this is a paragraph of text, what we would do is we would use the H1. So this is a tag that we use to create a heading, right? And the headings are usually titles for a section, or could be for the whole page. It could be a title for a subsection. So I've used the H1 heading here to say that lesson 1.html is the title for my article that I've written. And then over here I would use the P tag, which stands for paragraph, and then I could say that right here I've marked up my paragraph. So I've started with the P tag, I've ended with the P tag. Okay, if I felt that this was a complete article that I could share with other people, then what I would do is I would mark this up with the article tag, right? And I could take the closing article tag and put it here. I like to tab things so that I can tell when one block of text is nested within another tag, right? So this article surrounds my entire article here. So the article tag says that you have written an article, and an article is always complete. So in other words, if a computer service was to read the document, it would know the article began here and ended here, and it would also know that since I've labeled it as an article, that it could take this whole thing out of this document and it would be a complete story right here by itself, right? So an article always has a heading, so we wouldn't put the heading outside here. We wouldn't put the title of this article outside of the article tag. Let that sink in for a minute. So that's the whole, that's the whole thing about HTML in a nutshell. Essentially, as you write the content for your page, you surround the various elements with tags, and those tags describe the function of those elements. So in this case, this text here, it's a single sentence, or two sentences, and that can be a paragraph. So I've put it in the paragraph tag. And so now we know that it's a paragraph. this over here is the heading for my document, and I've put it in a heading, right? There's also a header tag. So if I wanted to mark a section of my document as a header, then I could put a header here. And you can have a header inside of an article. So the header might contain the title for that article. And then it might have, you know, some kind of other text in here. Maybe I'll put another paragraph here, and I'll say HTML, the language of web browsers. Okay, and maybe this is my subheading, right? And there we go. And I might put that in the header here. And then if I wanted to say, you know, I wanted to put a date on here. You know what? We have a time tag. So if you have some, you know, point in time, you can use the time tag to describe, you know, maybe when the article was published. I could say published today. And then if I wanted, I could add some other information here, right? But you can see here, like I'm writing the tags, and as I have something with some information in it that is related to, you know, some like part of speech or kind of communication, like a paragraph, a heading, a time or date, then I choose a tag that best describes it, and then I wrap it in that tag. Okay, so this is the footer for my article. So it goes inside the article. I label it as a footer. This is the content of the article. I wrap, and since it's a paragraph, I wrapped it in the paragraph tag. This is the header for the article. I, wrap the H1 as the heading and this subheading here as a paragraph inside the header, and then I wrap the whole thing in the article tag. Okay, so that's the basic of it, right? And if you want to search up tags, you can look them up on the interwebs, right? So we'll look some up. We'll look up HTML tag list here, and there's the W3 Schools reference. There's some other references. This one's okay, and it shows you all the tags here, and you can search it. So, there's probably some better ones, but this one actually always pops up if you search, and it does have everything in it. You can see here it defines document type, and if I scroll down here, I can see the article tag, hey, defines an article, right? So you can just look up any tag. So if you're typing something and you're wondering, like, what's the tag for this? Well, ask yourself, the text that you're typing, what is it trying to say to people, or what is it trying to communicate, and is there a tag that says that? For example, the ABBR is for an abbreviation or an acronym. So HTML is actually an abbreviation for hypertext markup language. So actually, I could, wrap the HTML in the abbreviation tag. Okay, so anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful to you. I'll continue this in the next video, and we'll talk about some more advanced topics, but this should get you started with HTML, and the key thing is, choosing the tag that describes your content best.